What would you do if someone challenged you to sing in front of hundreds of wealthy people trying to humiliate you? This is exactly what happened to Luna, a simple waitress from Rio de Janeiro, who carried a beautiful secret that was about to be revealed in the most unexpected way. Every morning, in a charming beachfront cafe in Copacabana, Luna Santos brightened everyone's day with her warm smile and gentle spirit. At just 25 years old, this Brazilian waitress had found happiness in life's simple pleasures, the sound of waves crashing nearby, the aroma of fresh coffee, and the joy of serving her regular customers, especially dear Martha, an American retiree who had become like a grandmother to her. Few knew that Luna was married to Ryan Thompson, a discreet American tech billionaire who fell in love with her authenticity when he first visited the cafe 2 years ago. Even fewer knew her hidden talent, a voice that could move mountains, but that she only shared within the walls of their home while cooking or taking care of their cozy apartment. That morning started like any other, with Luna humming softly while preparing the cafe's morning setup. Martha, sipping her usual cappuccino, often told her, "Sweetheart, you should share that beautiful voice with the world." But Luna would just smile shyly and change the subject. Her humble nature made her uncomfortable with any kind of spotlight. Little did Luna know that later that evening, at a prestigious tech charity gala she would attend with Ryan, her peaceful world would be turned upside down. As she adjusted her simple blue dress, the only formal outfit she owned, Luna had no idea that Ashley Palmer, a famous tech blogger known for her cruel remarks about gold diggers, was about to challenge her in front of everyone. The grand ballroom of the historic Copacabana Palace glittered with Rio's elite that evening. Crystal chandeliers cast a warm, golden glow over the tech industry's finest, gathered for the annual Innovation for Change charity gala. Luna held Ryan's arm tightly, feeling like a fish out of water among designer gowns and diamond necklaces. "Just be yourself, my love," Ryan whispered, squeezing her hand gently as they made their way through the crowd. But Luna could feel the stares and whispers. Her simple blue dress, though elegant, stood out among the extravagant fashion worn by the other wives. Then came Ashley Palmer's entrance. The notorious tech blogger commanded attention in her striking red designer dress, her platinum blonde hair perfectly styled. Known for her scathing social media posts about new money couples, Ashley had already spotted her next target. "Oh, if it isn't Ryan Thompson," Ashley's voice cut through the ambient chatter as she approached them. "And this must be the waitress?" The way she said waitress made it sound like a sin. Luna felt her cheeks burn as heads turned their way. "I hear your cafe makes excellent coffee," Ashley continued, her green eyes gleaming with malice. "Perhaps you could give us some serving tips. That's what you do best, right?" A few uncomfortable laughs echoed from her entourage. Ryan started to speak, but Luna gently touched his arm. "Our cafe takes pride in good service," she responded softly, her Brazilian accent more pronounced under stress. "Everyone deserves to be treated with kindness." "How quaint," Ashley smirked, raising her champagne glass. "Tell me, Luna, do you serve your billionaire husband coffee in bed too? That must be your special talent?" Luna's heart raced as she noticed Martha, her dear customer from the cafe, watching the scene with concern from across the room. Even here, in this wealthy setting, the kind elderly woman had come to support local charities. Ashley's voice grew louder, deliberately drawing more attention. "You know what would be entertaining, since we're all here supporting the arts?" Her red lips curved into a calculating smile as she glanced toward the stage, where the evening's entertainment would soon begin. Luna felt a chill run down her spine. Something in Ashley's expression told her that this elegant evening was about to become much more challenging than she had imagined. "Ladies and gentlemen," Ashley's voice echoed through the microphone, commanding everyone's attention. "As tonight's social media ambassador, I'd like to add a special touch to our evening." She stood on the stage, the warm spotlight making her red dress shimmer. The crowd quieted, champagne glasses pausing mid-sip. Luna's stomach tightened as Ashley's gaze fixed directly on her. Ryan, sensing his wife's discomfort, pulled her closer. "You know, I believe true talent should be celebrated, regardless of one's Background. Ashley's pause was deliberate. I'll start by sharing one of my talents. She nodded to the pianist, who began playing a familiar melody. As Ashley started singing at last, Luna felt a mix of relief and secondhand embarrassment. Despite her confident stance, Ashley's voice was painfully off-key, yet the audience politely swayed, some hiding winces behind forced smiles. "Now," Ashley declared after finishing, basking in courteous applause, "I believe in giving everyone a chance to shine." Her eyes locked onto Luna, especially those who might be hiding their talents while serving our morning coffee. The room fell silent. Luna felt hundreds of eyes turned toward her. She could see Martha's concerned face in the crowd, and several of Ryan's business associates shifting uncomfortably in their seats. "Come on up, Luna dear," Ashley cooed with false sweetness. "Unless, of course, you're only talented at taking drink orders." Scattered, nervous laughter rippled through the room. Luna's legs felt like lead. In all her years of singing privately at home, she'd never faced a crowd like this. Ryan's hand tightened protectively around hers, but before he could intervene, Ashley twisted the knife further. "Or perhaps you're afraid to show everyone why a billionaire really married a simple waitress. Surely it wasn't just for the coffee." The cruel insinuation hung in the air. Luna felt tears threatening to form, but years of handling difficult customers had taught her to maintain composure. Still, this was different. This wasn't about a wrong coffee order. This was about her dignity, her marriage, her very place in this world. As she stood frozen, an elegant figure began moving through the crowd toward her. Someone who had seen more than their fair share of music industry drama and talent shows. Someone who recognized the look of hidden greatness. Luna didn't know it yet, but her life was about to change forever. "Excuse me, darling." A commanding yet warm voice cut through the tense atmosphere. Grace Anderson, the legendary music producer, made her way to Luna's side. Even at 65, she carried herself with the confidence of someone who had shaped the music industry for decades. The crowd's whispers shifted. Everyone knew Grace Anderson, the woman who had discovered some of America's biggest stars in the most unexpected places. Ashley's smug expression faltered slightly as Grace placed a gentle hand on Luna's shoulder. "I was just enjoying my retirement here in Rio," Grace spoke, her voice carrying naturally through the quiet room, "when I heard something special last week." She turned to Luna with knowing eyes. "You see, I have this morning routine of visiting a certain cafe by the beach, and while everyone else was focused on their coffee orders, I was listening to something else." Luna's eyes widened with recognition. Every morning, while setting up the cafe, she would hum her favorite songs thinking no one was paying attention. But Grace had been there, quietly observing. "You know," Grace continued, leading Luna away from the crowd to a quieter corner, "I once discovered one of America's biggest stars singing in a small-town diner. People laughed at me when I said she would be great." She smiled warmly. They stopped laughing when she won her first Grammy. Martha had made her way over, standing supportively nearby. The elderly woman nodded encouragingly at Luna, her eyes twinkling with understanding. "My dear," Grace spoke softly but with conviction, "I've spent my life recognizing two things: real talent and real character. You have both." She glanced pointedly at Ashley, who was trying to maintain control of the situation on stage. And sometimes, the greatest voices come from the most humble hearts. Ryan watched in amazement as his wife's posture began to change. There was something about Grace's presence that seemed to awaken something in Luna, a quiet strength he had always known was there. "The question is," Grace's eyes twinkled with wisdom earned from decades in the music industry, "are you ready to show them what a simple woman with an extraordinary gift can do?" Luna looked at the stage, where Ashley was growing visibly impatient, then at Ryan, whose love and support shone in his eyes, at Martha, who had always believed in her, and finally at Grace, who had recognized her talent even when she was just a waitress humming while serving coffee. The next few minutes would change everything. But first, Grace had one more thing to share, something that would give Luna the courage she needed. Before I became Grace Anderson, the producer, Grace whispered to Luna, leading her toward the backstage area. I was Grace Miller, the shy girl from Kansas who cleaned houses for a living. Her revelation made Luna look up in surprise. In the warm, golden light of the preparation room, away from the prying eyes of the crowd, Grace shared something she rarely told anyone. My first performance wasn't in a fancy venue. It was in a living room I had just finished cleaning, when my employer caught me singing while dusting. Her eyes sparkled with the memory. Luna listened intently, her hands clasped together to stop them from shaking. Through the curtains, she could hear Ashley making subtle jabs about people who waste everyone's time. Martha had followed them backstage, quietly shooing away curious onlookers. You know what song changed my life? Grace walked to the piano tucked in the corner. Her fingers ghosted over the keys without pressing them. Rise Up by Andra Day. The lyrics speak to every person who's ever been underestimated. She turned to Luna. Just like you are right now. Ryan appeared at the doorway, his face filled with concern for his wife. But before he could speak, Grace motioned for him to wait. She knew this moment needed to belong to Luna alone. Every morning at the cafe, Luna spoke softly. When I think no one is listening, I sing that same song while setting up the tables. Her voice trembled with emotion. It reminds me of my mother, who always told me to hold my head high, no matter what. Grace's face lit up. Then that's your song, dear. That's your moment. She reached into her emerald clutch and pulled out a small, worn piece of paper, her own good luck charm from her first performance. Keep this with you on stage. Luna unfolded it carefully, her eyes welling up as she read the simple message written decades ago. They can only make you feel small if you forget how big your dreams are. The piano introduction to Ashley's next song started playing in the ballroom, her attempt to reclaim the spotlight. But now, something had changed in Luna's eyes. The same quiet strength she showed while handling difficult customers at the cafe began to emerge. But this time, it was different. Grace looked at her protégé with knowing eyes. Ready to show them what a simple woman with an extraordinary gift can do? Luna took one last look at her reflection in the mirror. The humble waitress was still there, but now there was something else too. Something that was about to leave everyone in that ballroom speechless. The warm stage lights created a gentle glow as Luna took her first tentative steps forward. The grand ballroom of the Copacabana Palace had never felt so silent. Ashley stood to the side, her red dress glowing like a warning signal, a smirk playing on her lips. Luna's hands trembled as she grasped the microphone. The familiar weight reminded her of the karaoke machine her mother had saved months to buy her when she was 12. From the corner of her eye, she could see Ryan, his face a mixture of concern and curiosity. In their 2 years of marriage, he had never heard her sing. The first piano notes of Rise Up floated through the air. Luna closed her eyes, remembering all the mornings at the cafe when it was just her and the rising sun, her voice mixing with the sound of waves crashing on Copacabana Beach. Grace's note crinkled softly in her pocket, a reminder of another woman who had once stood trembling before a crowd. When Luna opened her mouth to sing the first line, the transformation was instant. Her voice, clear as crystal and rich with emotion, filled every corner of the grand ballroom. You're broken down and tired of living life on a merry-go-round. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Ashley's smirk froze, then slowly faded. Martha, standing near the front, brought her hands to her heart, tears already forming in her eyes. But it was Ryan's expression that would have melted hearts. His face showed pure amazement, as if seeing his wife for the very first time. Grace stood in the shadows, watching as the humble waitress she had discovered singing over coffee cups commanded the attention of some of the wealthiest people in Rio. Every note carried the authenticity of someone who had lived the lyrics they were singing. As Luna reached the chorus, her voice soared with a power that made the crystal chandeliers seem to vibrate. I'll rise up, rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. The tech billionaires and their wives, who had earlier looked at her with pity or disdain, now stood transfixed. Phones were raised to capture the moment, but most couldn't look away from the simple woman in the blue dress who was proving that true talent knows no social boundaries. Luna was reaching the song's powerful bridge, her confidence growing with each note when something unexpected happened. A slight technical issue with the sound system caused a brief feedback, but what Luna did next would leave everyone in that room absolutely speechless. Without missing a beat, Luna removed the microphone from its stand and continued singing a cappella, her voice even more powerful without the musical accompaniment. The technical glitch that might have destroyed a lesser performer only served to showcase her raw talent. And I'll do it 1,000 times again. Her voice filled the ballroom with such pure emotion that several guests wiped away tears. The pianist, recovered from his surprise, gently rejoined with subtle chords, following her lead. Ashley stood frozen at the side of the stage, her perfectly manicured hand gripping her champagne glass so tightly it might shatter. The woman she had tried to humiliate was now commanding the room with a grace that no designer dress could buy. Ryan couldn't take his eyes off his wife. 2 years of marriage, and he had never known this side of her existed. In that moment, he saw not just the humble waitress he'd fallen in love with, but an artist whose gift had been waiting for this very moment to shine. As Luna built toward the final chorus, Grace noticed something remarkable happening in the crowd. Martha, the elderly regular from the cafe, began swaying gently. Then others joined, their jewelry catching the warm light of the chandeliers. Soon the entire ballroom was moving in unity, wealth and status forgotten in the face of genuine artistry. And I'll rise up, high like the waves. Luna's voice soared to new heights, her Brazilian accent adding a unique texture to the powerful lyrics. The same hands that served coffee every morning were now raised in triumph, embracing her moment with complete authenticity. When she hit the final note, holding it with perfect control, the silence that followed lasted for just a heartbeat. Then the ballroom erupted in thunderous applause. Business tycoons and socialites leapt to their feet, their standing ovation led by none other than Martha, tears streaming down her face. Ashley, her face a mask of barely contained fury, turned to leave the stage, but not before making one last desperate attempt to salvage her dignity. Her words, caught by the still active microphone she grabbed in passing, would set in motion an unexpected chain of events that would change not just Luna's life, but the lives of countless others. She's just a waitress who got lucky. Ashley's bitter words echoed through the sound system before she stormed out, her red dress disappearing through the exit. But her final attempt at cruelty only served to illuminate the true beauty of the evening. Grace Anderson stepped forward, her elegant figure commanding attention. "My dear Luna," she spoke with warmth, "you've just proved what I've known all along. That extraordinary talent can be found in the most ordinary places." Ryan made his way to the stage, tears glistening in his eyes. "I fell in love with Luna when she served me coffee 2 years ago." He addressed the crowd, his voice full of emotion. Not because of her voice, which I'd never heard until tonight, but because of her heart. She treated everyone, from street vendors to CEOs, with the same genuine kindness. Martha stood up from her seat, her voice quavering with pride. "Every morning, this young woman brings joy to our little cafe. Now that's what I call real talent, not just in singing, but in touching lives." The crowd's applause transformed into something more meaningful as Grace took the microphone again. "Luna, your gift isn't just your voice. It's your ability to bridge worlds, to show us that beauty exists everywhere, if we just open our eyes to see it." That very evening, Ryan and Luna announced their plan to establish the Rise Up Foundation, dedicated to discovering and nurturing hidden talents in unexpected places. Grace would serve as the foundation's artistic director, bringing her decades of experience to help others find their voice. The simple cafe by the beach would become more than just a coffee shop. It would host monthly open mic nights, where people from all walks of life could share their gifts. Martha volunteered to organize these events, her retirement finding new purpose. As the evening drew to a close, Luna returned to center stage one last time. But now, she stood tall in her simple blue dress, no longer the nervous waitress who had arrived hours earlier. She had found not just her voice, but her purpose. Sometimes, she spoke softly into the microphone, her Brazilian accent adding warmth to her words. The greatest gifts are hidden in plain sight. We just need the courage to share them, and the kindness to help others find theirs. Ryan took her hand, and together they looked out at the ballroom filled with people who had witnessed not just a performance, but a transformation. The humble waitress from Copacabana had shown them all that true talent, like true love, knows no boundaries. Dear friends, I want to thank you for sharing this beautiful moment with us today. Luna's story reminds us that amazing gifts can be found in the most unexpected places, maybe even in your own neighborhood or family. I would love to know, have you ever witnessed someone's hidden talent being revealed in a surprising way? Or perhaps you have a special gift that you've been hesitant to share with others? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're watching this video, I'm curious. Which beautiful corner of the world are you joining us from today? If Luna's story touched your heart, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories just like this one. Remember to hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next video about another extraordinary person who proved that miracles can happen in ordinary places. Until next time, keep believing in the power of simple dreams.